I found an interesting concept in this book called The Dialectical Behavioral Therapy Skills Workbook for Bipolar Disorder. I'm reading this because my partner has bipolar type 2, but this part I thought would actually be relevant to me. So I think it's just kind of a basic like DBT skill, and of course DBT is not just for bipolar disorder, it's great for lots of things, but so it talked about how judgment feeds the emotional brain and can make our emotions really get amplified. And the example that they gave was if you're driving a car and somebody in front of you is driving well under the speed limit and you're unable to pass. A lot of people would get irritated, annoyed, frustrated in that situation. And then the instinct based on that feeling is often to make a judgment about that driver. So, depending on who you are and how your brain works, you might think they're driving poorly, or you might think they're a stupid driver, a bad driver, or who knows what else, right? But once you make some sort of judgment call about the driver like that, then a lot of times that will cause you to have even more of that original emotion. So if I'm like, they're just a terrible driver, then I might start thinking things like, they don't even belong on the road. And then that could lead me to be much more angry than I was initially. And so judgment increases emotion, and then increased emotion can cause more judgment, and these things can really spiral. And so it suggested that you try to be more mindful of when you are making judgments, and then if you catch yourself making a judgment and you can catch yourself in that cycle, a lot of times it can prevent your emotions from really getting out of hand. And I thought that was a really interesting concept in general, but it also talked about how for some people, they struggle a lot with judging other people, like in that driving situation. But for other people, it can be a very internal thing. And this is where I thought it really applied to me, because I find it pretty easy to have empathy for other people most of the time, but I struggle more with self-compassion and with being overly critical to myself in ways that I wouldn't ever be critical of most other people. And so the same thing can happen with us. If you make some sort of mistake and you find yourself thinking, I'm stupid for doing that, or I'm worthless, or I'm terrible, or something like that, that can cause you to then get even more angry at yourself. And that emotional cycle can happen within ourselves as well. And I just thought that was really interesting. And so I thought I would try to hold on to that and look for ways in my life where I am making like judgment calls about myself and seeing if I can catch that and try to stop that cycle a little bit.